Hello everyone and welcome to this video that is gonna show you exactly why Daybreak was a great living story episode and one that should be taken as a basis for every single other episode to be released. This episode was the first one of the 4th season of the living story, the one that happens right after the Path of Fire storyline. In this episode, not only did we get a lot of features, we also got a lot of content in the form of repeatable, hard content, as well as a map meta event that was farmed and farmed again, and even some skins that you could acquire in the game. This was simply the best living story release in the whole of season 4 if we look purely at what we got. And now I'm gonna tell you exactly what we had so that you can know exactly what you want out of that episode if you haven't played it yet. The first thing we got was definitely the story, as well as the map that shipped with it, the domain of Istan. Of course, the living story is something that you will appreciate or not based on your own sensibility, and as such, I am not gonna tell you, of course, the story is great and you're gonna love it. No, you play it, you tell me how you felt about it. When it comes to the map, however, I can already tell you some information about it. This is simply a gorgeous map, as you can see from the video on the screen right now, but on top of that, it was also the most farmed map until a few weeks back when it finally got changed and brought down in line with the other farms that were in the game. That means that right now Silver Waste is the best farm again, but still Istan was definitely at the core of the farming community for month and month. It still is pretty good if you want to have a go at it, and the change to unidentified gear will definitely breathe some life into this map again. Now, when it comes to the resources you could get in there, it was Krakatterite ore that allowed you to make the Martial stat set, which in my opinion isn't too good, but some people might find a use for it, but also, and most importantly, the Astral and Stellar weapon sets. Stellar being the evolved version of the Astral one, and also the one that you can see rotating in the corner of the screen as of right now. The Stellar set is, of course, stellar in its design, stunning by its beauty, and definitely something that veteran players wanted, the ability to acquire some very good looking skins directly into the game by playing the content. Of course, it is quite a bit of a barbarian way to acquire all these skins, and you're gonna have to farm your brains out more than the game out if you want to get all of them. My best advice to you would be to focus on the ones that you really want and farm only these. Now, of course, the domain of Istan was simply the living story part of the release. What we got in terms of content was much more important than what that map had to offer, at least from my hardcore player point of view, even though I did retire since then. Anyways, we got not only a Fractal but also a Raid Wing. I'm going to talk about the Fractal first. The Fractal was the Twilight Oasis. People were not too happy with the fact that it did not have a challenge mode, because we sort of expected new Fractal releases to give us that hardcore content that we seriously craved. However, this Fractal did have a lot of lore embedded into it, as well as a decent amount of RP. Now, not everyone is a fan of it, but I felt that it was a breath of fresh air. Now, when we look at, finally, the best part of the release, I will talk about the Raid Wing. Yes, Hall of Chains was released alongside that episode, and goddamn, it was good. The Hall of Chains was definitely, in my opinion, the hardest Raid Wing ever released so far by Guild Wars 2. Indeed, it took over 36 hours for the final boss to finally be killed by a group of 10 players from a hardcore guild. Yes, 36 hours. Of course, the fact that there was not any form of player-driven testing might explain why the player base didn't down it beforehand, but still, it also means that this encounter was challenging. It wasn't challenging because people were having issues with DPS checks. It was actually a challenge because people did not have a lot of understanding of all the mechanics. And these mechanics rely on a single player's ability to execute them, meaning that this encounter requires communication and dedication, which in my opinion makes it one of the very best we got so far. Now, of course, this does not mean that the wing is particularly hard to clear to date per se, but still, you might have a wee bit of a struggle if you get in there with people that have never gotten to the end boss prior. Now that I have talked about all that this release had to offer, you can definitely see why I started the video by saying that it was feature-packed and content-packed. This release is one that should serve as an example for every future ones that we get, as stated. And today, I think it is my favorite Living Story release. And I hope that with this video you guys have gotten a good idea of what it has to offer and that you will find your own enjoyment and entertainment as you decide to play it or replay it. I wish every single one of you some happy playing and to enjoy this episode.